14 years after The Walking Dead's first launch, we finally know what caused the outbreak and how it all went down. So today we're gonna find out the whole story of the Wildfire virus and how it changed human civilization forever in The Walking Dead. But there's more. You'll also find out what different organizations in The Walking Dead are doing and how that will lead to even scarier zombies in the future. The virus was made in France and was discovered by the Center for Disease Control on April 16, 2010. So in France there were two teams of scientists, Primors and Violet. So what are these teams? Who are they? We have absolutely no idea. All we know is that these scientists created the virus and later tried to destroy it as well. Fun fact, this pathogen is commonly referred to as a virus, but we actually don't know if it is a virus at all. It's just a catchy name that people started to use.
It could be microbial, viral, parasitic, fungal.
Or the wrath of God?
There's that.
Well, I guess that now we more or less know that it's a virus, but until Daryl Dixon and World Beyond, we didn't really know that. So the lab created the virus for experimental purposes. Why the fuck would you make a new virus and what would you experiment with it? Who knows? So the virus started in France and was first detected on April 16, 2010, and a few days later there was already a global pandemic. You really get those COVID vibes, don't you? This virus spreads insanely fast, like crazily fast. Many people believe that the virus is transmitted by bites like rabies, but that's incorrect actually. The virus is actually airborne. Somehow it managed to spread to basically everybody on Earth. It is so crazily transmissible that even people in the submarines were all infected. There is evidence that this virus can even travel underwater, and as it seems, somehow it came through metal in the submarines as well. So yeah, this thing isn't stopping anywhere. And it even got an astronaut in space. It's possible that he was infected and went to space later, but if he somehow got infected in space, I just don't know, man. Something like this isn't really possible in real life. I mean, there are some really crazy coronaviruses and some even more crazy proteins that can spread very fast, but the wildfire virus is just insane. It's exactly that, wildfire. It's unstoppable. Like I said, the virus is airborne, so bites don't actually cause you to turn into a walker. Well, they do, but not the way you think. You see, rotten corpses are quite dangerous. No, really, you do not want to smell them or touch them.
Don't get any on your skin or in your eyes.
When a body decomposes, bacteria take over, and essentially when a walker bites you, you get a giant amount of bacteria in your body that causes a crazy infection and you die. So wildfire virus does not kill you if you get bitten. I mean, they're all infected anyway. What a bite really does is infect you with pathogens found in rotten flesh and teeth that kill you. It's also known that you don't die as fast if you take antibiotics, which proves that this is caused by bacteria, as antibiotics work only on bacteria. Even when people mask their smell by covering themselves in blood or drinking contaminated water, they can die because of this bacteria. Okay, but how does the virus actually work? How does it just take over your body? Well, like Dr. Edwin Jenner already told us, it invades the brain, causing meningitis. The adrenal glands hemorrhage from some reason, meaning they basically start to bleed out. The brain goes into shutdown faster than other organs, which is interesting because usually everything goes down before the brain does, but the virus targets specifically the brain. So after you die, you undergo a process called reanimation. It lasts somewhere between 3 minutes and 8 hours. The longevity of the process is dependent on how the person died. For example, if they died peacefully, it'll take longer, and if they died because their best friend stabbed them, they'll be up and running in minutes. It's also of course dependent on sex, age, weight, and a bunch of other factors. So after some time, the virus makes the brainstem neurons somehow fire electrical signals again, and it gets them up and moving. But the prefrontal cortex and other parts don't come back, and we all know the rest. You remember the two teams in Europe that made the virus that I was talking about earlier? So these scientists actually tried to stop the virus, but they made it worse. You remember how in season 1 there were these walkers that could climb walls and grab rocks? Well, we saw them again. They attacked the Commonwealth. We don't know why we didn't see them for so long in between, but it seems they were very common in France. They were very intelligent and fast. Now these scientists in France actually made some experiments, and later genetics people continued these experiments and created even more so-called variants. They have faster reanimation times and are way more dangerous. So not only were there different kinds of walkers in Europe, but they made even more variants later. We saw some walkers that don't care for you that are called lurkers and stuff like that, but these are actually in different variants with acid blood and better reflexes. The CRM is also doing some crazy experiments with walkers and is trying to stop the reanimation, but they haven't been very successful so far. In new seasons of spin-offs we'll probably find out even more, but this is what we know so far. If there's any chance that there's a bunch of nerds out there, tell me in the comments and I can go deeper on these topics, but this is basically an overview of what we know about Wildfire virus.
Liquid.